Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So, just a quick update. You might notice a small shift in the name of the podcast and brand. I've changed the integrative counselor to the integrative therapist. I made the switch to avoid any confusion around the word counselor, which can sometimes be misinterpreted or tied to different meanings depending on who and where you are. Therapist feels clear and more universally understood when it comes to mental health and holistic care. Nothing else is changing. Same focus, same heart, same commitment to body, mind, and healing and real conversation. So thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting. So at the Integrative Therapist, we integrate mind, body, and beyond. We explore the art of science and holistic wellness. I am your host, Julie, an integrative therapist who is passionate about helping you cultivate a life that feels aligned, intentional, and fulfilling for you. Throughout the podcast, we will dive into meaningful conversations about mental health, personal growth, and the powerful connection between mind, body, and spirit. So before we begin, just a reminder, these resources shared in this podcast are for educational and self-help purposes only. They are not a substitute for professional therapy, counseling, or medical advice. Everyone's journey is unique, so please explore what feels most supportive to you. And if you're experiencing distress, please, I encourage you to reach out to a qualified mental health professional in your area. You are not alone, and help is always available. So last week, we explored how performance-based worthiness can disconnect us from who we truly are. This week, we're peeling back another layer, the people-pleasing pattern. Because people-pleasing isn't just about being nice. It's about safety. It's about survival. It's about who you thought you had to be to feel loved, accepted, or protected. Maybe you've always felt responsible for keeping the peace. Maybe you've stayed silent to avoid conflict. Maybe you've said yes when your whole body was screaming no. Well, then, this episode is for you. This is for that part of you that's exhausted from trying to be everything for everyone. So in this episode, we're going to explore why people-pleasing isn't just a personality trait. It's actually a nervous system response rooted in early relational patterns. We'll take a look at the mental, emotional, and physical toll of chronic self-abandonment. We'll look at how to begin setting boundaries from a place of self-connection, not self-protection. We'll also offer somatic and reflective tools to build self-trust and reclaim your inner voice. You don't have to earn love by overgiving. You don't have to shapeshift to be worthy of space. And you're allowed to say no, to disappoint others, and to choose yourself. So join me for this brief check-in, a soft landing into the present moment. Begin by placing a hand over your chest or belly, whatever feels most grounding for you. Let your breath gently rise and fall. And ask yourself, what part of me is here today? Is there tension, tenderness, tiredness? Just notice, without fixing, without judgment. And then ask, what do I need most right now? A boundary, a pause, a breath, or simply a moment of truth. Let yourself receive the answer with compassion. Take one more slow inhale and a soft, long exhale. Settle in and let's begin. So people-pleasing is often misunderstood. It's seen as being too nice, overly accommodating, or lacking confidence. But when we look through a trauma-informed and nervous system lens, people-pleasing reveals itself not as a flaw, but as a strategy, a survival strategy. In the polyvagal theory developed by Dr. Stephen Porges, this is referred to as the fawn response. It's a lesser known fourth trauma response alongside fight, flight, and freeze. So when none of the others feel safe or available to us, our nervous system may simply choose appeasement as the most protective route. So instead of running from conflict or freezing in place, we learn to stay safe by merging with others' expectations, minimizing our own needs to reduce friction, and becoming agreeable, overly helpful, or emotionally attuned to others at our own expense. This is especially common when early relationships taught us that love, safety, or belonging were simply conditional. For example, you might have grown up in a home where love or attention had to be earned. You may have learned that being easygoing prevented conflict or emotional withdrawal. You maybe were praised for being the responsible one, the helper, or the peacemaker, even when it cost your own authenticity. From a developmental trauma lens, as explored in the work of Dr. Gabor Mate and Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, these patterns often begin in childhood, when we're forced to choose between two core needs: authenticity, which is being true to our emotions, our needs, and our instincts, or attachment, which means staying connected to caregivers even when unsafe or inconsistent. So when these two are in conflict, attachment usually wins. We learn to disconnect from our inner truth in order to preserve connection. You didn't choose this pattern consciously. It was a neurobiological adaptation, your body's way of keeping you safe in relationships where honesty may not have felt welcome. So the part of our brain called the amygdala is a part which scans for threat, and it also pairs people's emotional responses with their survival behaviors. So when our nervous system senses that people-pleasing often will keep us safe or prevent abandonment, it wires that behavior in for our protection. And over time, the brain's default mode network begins to normalize this behavior, and it becomes habitual, even unconscious. And for many of us, it becomes mistaken for who we are. But survival strategies, while wise, are not meant to be permanent for us. We can begin to rewire those pathways. We can teach the body that safety isn't only found through self-sacrifice. We can learn that authenticity and attachment don't have to be in conflict anymore. And that starts with awareness, with noticing the moments when we silence ourselves to be liked, with pausing before the automatic yes, and with gently asking, what do I need right now? And daring to honor that answer for ourselves. When your identity is tied to how well you take care of others, keep the peace, or avoid disappointing people, you often begin to lose yourself. And over time, people-pleasing can lead to emotional burnout, chronic resentment, a disconnection from our needs, our desires, and our own intuition. It can also create difficulty in making decisions or even trusting yourself. A nervous system that constantly feels dysregulated and stuck between anxiety and collapse can often pair with this people-pleasing pattern. And the cost of people-pleasing isn't just emotional, it's physical, it's somatic, it's stored in your body as tension, as fatigue, as a silent scream of, I can't keep doing this. But the antidote to people-pleasing isn't becoming hardened. It's becoming honest. Honest with what you feel. Honest with what you need. Honest with who you truly are when you're not performing for acceptance. Healing the people-pleasing pattern isn't about swinging to the opposite extreme. It's about small, consistent acts of self-honoring. These practices I'm about to share with you will help you notice the pattern, pause the automatic response, and choose from a place of safety and alignment. The first is the pause before the yes. So create a buffer between the request and your response. So the practice could look like, instead of answering someone right away that's made a request, try saying, can I get back to you on that? Or perhaps, let me check my schedule and I'll let you know. Why this helps is because people-pleasing is often reflexive. This pause interrupts that automatic, subconscious yes and gives you time to check in with your body, your energy, and your capacity. Next is create some boundary scripts for gentle honesty. So words can be hard when you're used to softening everything for others. So keep a few scripts handy to honor your needs kindly and clearly. Examples could look like, I really care about you, but I also need to say no right now. Or I'm learning to take better care of myself, so I won't be able to say yes to this right now. Or I need to honor my energy and I won't be joining in this time, but thank you. So start small, practice with low stakes situations, and then build your confidence over time. Another strategy is the nervous system check in. So before saying yes or feeling guilt about saying no, take a pause and ask, am I feeling grounded or anxious? Is my yes coming from desire or fear? What is my body saying right now? This can help because it brings you into that introspective awareness. It connects the thoughts and the actions back into your body's truth. Another one that you can practice is called inner dialogue reframe. So people pleasing often comes with guilt. Meet it with curiosity instead of criticism. So practice when guilt shows up for you, ask yourself, what part of me feels unsafe if I say no? What is this guilt trying to protect me from? Can I remind myself that I'm not being unkind, I'm just being honest? Then respond with a gentle affirmation that makes sense to you. Here's a sample. I am allowed to protect my energy without apology. Another strategy is a reflective journaling prompt. So use this to explore the origins of your people-pleasing tendencies. Grab a pen and paper and start reflecting. The first one is, when did I first learn it wasn't safe to disappoint others? What did I fear would happen if I spoke up or set limits? Whose approval have I been working so hard to keep? And do I still need it? And finally, the last one is co-regulation support. You don't have to navigate this alone. You can always talk with a trusted friend, a therapist, or a support person about your boundaries. Even practice role-playing for hard conversations. Seek relationships where your no is respected and welcomed. People-pleasing is often rooted in attachment wounds. Healing those patterns happens in new relationships where your truth is safe. Every time you choose yourself, even in small ways, you are teaching your nervous system that safety doesn't require sacrifice. Your boundaries are not barriers. They are acts of love. They are evidence that you're reclaiming your wholeness one honest moment at a time. People-pleasing is rarely about preference. It's about protection. It forms when safety, whether that's emotional, relational, or even physical, wasn't consistent or secure. So if you've struggled to say no, if your body braces before disappointing someone, if guilt floods in the moment you try and set a boundary, that is not you being weak. That is your nervous system remembering. This isn't a flaw in your personality. It's a reflection of what your body learned to do to stay connected, accepted, or safe. But what if we redefined what safety actually means? Because safety isn't just about being free from harm. It's the felt sense that you're allowed to be honest. Your needs are not too much. You can exist without performing, and you are safe to rest, to say no, or to change your mind at any time. This kind of safety starts internally, through practices that soothe your body, through relationships that welcome your truth, and through boundaries that protect your energy. And when we begin to create that internal sense of safety, when our nervous system starts to believe that we're allowed to have needs, to take up space, and to rest, something beautiful happens. We begin to trust ourselves again, not all at once and not perfectly, but moment by moment and breath by breath. Because self-trust isn't a destination. It's something you rebuild. Each time that you pause before saying yes, each time that you name a need or a boundary, each time that you choose rest over functioning, And each time you tell yourself the truth, even silently, you are repairing the rupture that said you can't trust yourself to choose you. And over time, those small moments become the foundation of something powerful, a life where you don't abandon yourself to belong, a nervous system that doesn't panic when you protect your energy, and a voice that feels safe to speak your truth. And like any relationship, rebuilding self-trust takes practice, not just in the mind, but in the body. Because your nervous system doesn't learn through insight alone. It learns through experience, through repetition, through felt moments of safety. So let's invite your body into this remembering together with this gentle practice. Begin by placing one hand over your heart and the other on your belly. Take a deep, steady breath in and a soft, slow exhale out. Now say gently aloud or in your mind, "It's safe to take care of me. I can trust what I feel. I don't have to perform to be loved." Repeat this 2 to 3 times, or choose your own affirmations, and let the words settle into your body. Not as affirmations to force, but as truths you're learning to come home to. Let those words linger for a moment. Feel what it's like to say them and to believe them, even just a little, that they could be true. Because this is how it begins, with the breath, with the hand on your heart, and with a willingness to return to yourself. And as you begin to feel safer in your own truth, you might also begin to notice the ways you've been moving through the world to stay safe. And so what begins as a way to feel safe, which is saying yes, staying agreeable, avoiding conflict, eventually becomes a pattern that costs us our own well-being. But here's the turning point. Healing doesn't mean closing off or becoming distant. It means coming closer to yourself. It means shifting from automatic appeasement to intentional authenticity. And one of the most powerful ways we can begin that shift is through boundaries. Many of us fear that boundaries will hurt others and make us seem cold. But boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They are bridges to deeper connection, built on truth and self-respect. When rooted in self-connection, not defensiveness, boundaries say, "This is what I need to stay well. This is where I end and you begin. This is how I can show up with integrity and care." Boundaries are the language of self-trust. They let others meet the real you, not just the accommodating version of you. And the more you honor your no, the more spaciousness your yes becomes. Your body often knows the truth before the mind can explain it. When we've spent years overriding our own needs to keep others comfortable, it's easy to lose touch with our inner compass. We may second-guess our decisions, ignore red flags, or say yes before we've even had a chance to check in with ourselves. But your body holds wisdom. It speaks in sensation, and it's constantly giving you signals about what feels aligned and what doesn't. So take a moment to find a safe space and join me in this practice to reconnect with your inner yes and no. So begin by finding a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Sit or lie down in a comfortable position and allow your breath to settle. So bring to mind a situation, a person, a place, or a memory that feels like a wholehearted yes. Maybe it's a cozy moment with a loved one, a space where you feel fully seen, or a time when you felt free and aligned. And as you recall this yes, notice what happens in your body. Do your shoulders drop? Does your breath deepen? Do you feel warmth in your chest or an openness in your posture? Take your time and let the sensation of yes move throughout you. Now bring to mind something that feels like a clear no, an obligation, request, or memory that felt draining or off for you. Pay attention to what shifts now in your body as you recall this situation. Does your body tense or contract? Do you feel your breath shorten or hold? Do you want to pull away or shut down? Just simply observe what is happening in your body. There's no right or wrong, only information. Now take a moment to perhaps notice the difference that you felt between your yes and between your no. Can you locate where each sensation lives in your body? And what would it be like to pause and to feel into that wisdom before making a decision in your everyday life? Coming back to our breath now, taking a deep inhale in and a slow, long exhale out. This concludes our mini practice. Thank you. And back to our podcast. So when you begin to tune into your yes and no body compass, you start to rebuild trust with yourself, and you learn to recognize early signs of discomfort or misalignment. You begin making choices from inner clarity, not obligation, fear, or guilt. And you finally start to honor your body's signals as valid and trustworthy. Over time, this practice helps you unhook from people-pleasing and performative patterns, not by forcing change, but by returning to your own inner truth. Try asking yourself this throughout the day. What does my body say about this? Is this a true yes or a fear-based yes? Where in my body do I feel drawn in or pulled away? Let your body speak and begin to trust what it says. When you begin to tune into your body's yes or no, you start to reclaim the clarity that people-pleasing often clouds. But awareness isn't just the beginning. The next step is giving that inner truth a voice and honoring it through boundaries. You are not too much. You are not selfish. You are simply honoring your wholeness. And every boundary you set isn't a rejection, it's a reclamation, a gentle, powerful way of saying, I matter too. As we close today, I want to remind you, people-pleasing was never about weakness. It was about love, about safety, about staying connected in the only way you knew how. But you don't have to keep abandoning yourself to belong. Your truth matters, your limits matter, and you matter. So take a breath, come back to your body, and let this be the start of a new pattern, one where you choose you. Because you don't have to be everything for everyone, and you are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to rest, to need, to say no, and still be worthy of love. So next week, we're continuing the conversation with boundaries that honor your healing, moving from people-pleasing to self-connection. We'll explore how to set boundaries without guilt, different types of boundaries, and why boundaries are essential for nervous system safety and self-trust. We'll also take a look at practical ways to create space for your needs, truth, and healing journey. This episode is an invitation to move from self-abandonment to self-respect, one boundary at a time. Until then, keep coming home to yourself, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. with care, Julie.